Hi guys, welcome back to Intellectual Literature. This is Gauri. Today we are going to talk about John Bunyan's Pilgrim Progress. Pilgrim Progress was written by John Bunyan. It was published in two parts, 1678 and 1684. It is a Christian allegory depicting the spiritual journey from sin to salvation. Part 1 follows Christian from the city of destruction to celestial city, while part 2 traces his wife's Christiana and family on similar path. The work draws heavily from the Bible, using metaphors to illustrate faith, trials and triumphs. Part 1. First we see overview of this work and then scene by scene explanation. Part 1. Burdened by sin, after reading the Bible, flees the city of destruction, guided by evangelist toward the wicket gate. He faces the slough of despond, Mr. Worldly Wiseman's false advice, the house of interpreter lessons, and loses his burden at the cross. Key trials include hill difficulty, Vanity Fair, doubting castle, and river of death, ended in the celestial city. Part 2. Christiana's pilgrimage. Christiana, prompted by her dream, travels with sons Matthew, Samuel, Joseph, James, and Mercy, guided by great heart. They visit the interpreted house, learning from symbols like the muckraker and spider slay gains like Grim, and revisit sites like the Lions and the Vanity Fair. The journey emphasizes community, family growth, and grace, culminating in heaven. Major themes: the pilgrimage symbolizes the Christian life with obstacles like the slough and imprisonment, testing faith; grace, atonement via Christ, and liberation from worldly ties prevail. Part 2 highlights gender roles, community, and predestination through mercy's entry. Now we see scene by scene explanation. First part, Christian's journey. It was published on 1678. The narrator dreams of a man named Christian reading a book, the Bible. He becomes distrusted when he learns that the city of destruction will be destroyed by fire. He carries a burden on his back, symbolizing sin. His wife and children refuse to listen to him. Evangelist and the call to salvation. Christian meets evangelist, who tells him to flee this city of destruction and go to the celestial city. Evangelist points him toward the wicket gate. Christian runs away, crying, "Life, life, eternal life." Christian is stopped by his neighbors, Obstinate and Fleeable. Obstinate mocks Christian and returns home. Fleeable joins Christian but later abandons him. Christian and Fleeable fall into a muddy swamp called the Slough of Despond, symbolizing despair and doubt. Fleeable escapes and returns home. Christian is rescued by help, who places him back on the right path. Christian meets Mr. Worldly Wiseman, who advises him to seek happiness without religion. He sends Christian towards Legibility and Mount Sinai, but this nearly destroys him. Evangelist returns and corrects Christian. Christian reaches the wicket gate, guarded by goodwill, who lets him enter and warns him about future and dangers. Christian visits the interpreted house, where he sees symbolic visions. A dusty room, it is also called the sinful art. A man in an iron cage, it is also known as laws of faith. A fire fed secretly by oil, it is God's grace. These teach Christian about salvation and perseverance. The cross and the burden removed. Christian reaches the cross. While Christian reaches the cross, where his burden falls from his back and rolls into a tomb. This symbolizes forgiveness of sins. He receives a new clothes and a scroll. Christian meets three sleepers. They are simple, this is also called ignorance; sloth, also called laziness; presumption, also called false confidence. They refuse to awaken. Christian struggles with the hill difficulty. He rests in an harbor and loses his scroll, but later recovers it with effort. Christian is welcomed at Palace Beautiful by discretion, prudence, pity, and charity. He is armed with spiritual weapons and prepared for future trials. Christian fights Apollyon, a demon representing evil. Though wounded, Christian defeats Apollyon using the sword of spirit. Christian walks through darkness, fear, and temptation. He survives through faith and prayer. Christian meets faithful who tells of his own trials, including encounters with Vanter, Adam the First, and shame. Christian and faithful enter Vanity Fair, a place of early temptation. Faithful is arrested, tried, and executed. Christian escapes. Inspired by faithful martyrdom, Hopeful joins Christian as a new companion. Christian and Hopeful are imprisoned by Jane Despair. Christian remembers the key of promise, which frees them. They are shown visions of heaven and hell and warned about false paths. They meet ignorance who believes good works alone will save him. He refuses true faith. Christian and Hopeful resist spiritual sleep and temptation through conversation and prayer. Christian fears drowning while crossing the river of death, but Hopeful supports him. Christian and Hopeful enter heaven. Ignorance arrives separately, but is casting out, showing that false belief leads to damnation. Now part 1 is ended. Part 2, Christiana's journey. It was published on 1684. Christiana is wife of Christian. She regrets her earlier rejection of faith. She receives a divine call to follow Christian path. Christiana travels with her 4 sons Matthew, Samuel, Joseph, and James and Mercy. They are warmly welcomed by goodwill, showing grace toward family and women. Christiana and her children receive deeper spiritual instruction. They are guided by Great Heart, a strong protector who fights enemies for them. Great Heart kills Grim, representing victory over fear. They rest and receive spiritual nourishment. Christiana's sons mature in faith. These sons marry godly women and continue their journeys as families. Christiana, Mercy, and their children cross the river of death peacefully. Christiana is reunited with Christian in heaven, showing divine mercy and family salvation. There is the difference between part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is individual journey and part 2 is family journey. Part 1, Christian have so many struggles and fear. Part 2, Christiana and her family meets grace and support. Christiana's part 1 journey, lone pilgrim. Part 2 is community. The pilgrim process use allegory to explain Christian life. Part 1 shows personal salvation through struggle, while Part 2 highlights grace, guidance, and family faith. These are the characters of this work: Christian, Apollyon, Evangelist, Faithful, Pliable, Worldly Wise Man, Hopeful, Shining Ones. Formalist, Legislative, Bias, Talkative, Adam the First, Presumption, Simple, Sloth, Obstinate, Interpreted, Goodwill, Help, Civility. Now, we are going to study author's description. John Bunyan was a prominent English writer, preacher, and theologian, best known for his allegorical work, The Pilgrim Progress. He was born on November 28, 1628 in Helstow, England. He was the son of Thomas Bunyan, a brazier or metal worker, and Margaret Bentley. Coming from a humble background, Bunyan had little formal education, yet he rose to become one of the most influential religious writers in English literature. During his early life, Bunyan served in the English Civil War from 1644 to 1646 on the parliamentarian side. After the war, he experienced a deep spiritual crisis which led to a profound religious conversion in 1653. This transformation shaped his future as a religious preacher and writer. In 1655, he became a Baptist preacher and gained recognition for his powerful sermons. In 1659, Bunyan married Elizabeth Bunyan. However, his life took a difficult turn when he was arrested in 1660 for preaching without a government license because he refused to stop preaching. He spent nearly 12 years, 1662, 1672. in Bedford County Jail. This period of imprisonment played a curical role in his literary career, profounding him with time of reflection and writing. In 1678, Bunyan published The Pilgrim Progress, an allegorical narrative that describes the spiritual journey of a Christian soul from sin to salvation. The book became one of the most widely read works in the English language and remains a classic of English literature. John Bunyan died on August 31, 1688 in London, leaving behind a lasting legacy as an influential Baptist theologian and one of the greatest allegorical writers in English literature. Okay, now the work is ended. I read it all, but you make this note, you take screenshots and read it once again. Do you want this work's Tamil explanation? I already posted on my channel. Go and watch. I hope this video is little bit helped in your studies. Kindly share with your friends who really needed it, and like if you really like it. Comment your thoughts, what works next you want, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you. Bye bye.